What's up, guys? Jordan from Precondo here. Today we are talking about pre-construction pricing and the resale condo market. So let's get into this. Before we talk pre-con pricing, I just want to tell you guys, I spent 2 weeks building out what I think is the best pre-construction guide in the world, or at least in Toronto. By the end of watching this course, you will know more than 99% of investors, and you'll know more than 99% of realtors know about pre-construction. Cover everything from the sales process, platinum, VIP, public sales, where to find the best deals, how to find the under market value opportunities that aren't being marketed and email blasted to you, what happens if development cancels, why pre-construction tends to be more expensive than resale and where the prices are headed, market outlooks, stock returns versus condo returns, investment thesis. I even show you how I build out my pro formas, how I do my cash flows. Anyways, long story short, I think it's a really good course. It's totally free, at least for now it is. So go get yourself into it. You can watch it at your own leisure, grab some popcorn. I believe it's like 85 minutes in total. You probably don't want to listen to me for that long, but it is a lot of stuff that I don't share and wouldn't share on this channel. It's a lot of really useful information. So go make use of that, precondo.ca/academy. And let's get into this. So what I want to talk about is the difference in value between, or the difference in price between pre-construction condos outside of Toronto and in Toronto. Because over the last 2 years, because of work from home and COVID, I've been getting a lot of people who want to invest in pre-construction condos outside of Toronto. And what I tell a lot of these people is, if you're looking for a 10, 20, 30-year hold, yeah, you're going to do great. But if you're trying to buy Hamilton or Brampton or Barrie condos pre-construction because you think you're going to get a way better deal than downtown Toronto, it's true, you're going to pay less, but relatively speaking, you're actually getting a worse deal. And the reason I say that is because values have run, we know resale values out there on detached homes have appreciated so rapidly through COVID, but so have new build condos. You're not getting the discount that you used to get. Just 2-3 years ago, you used to pay way less for a condo in Barrie or a condo in Brampton. Nowadays, the gap is much narrower. So if you look at the average price per square, and this data here is from Ben Myers, great guy to follow on Twitter, does a lot of this stuff. This is the per square foot selling price at launch of condos over the last 2 years. You notice that the PSF value of new condo launches in Brampton are up 64% in 2 years. Barrie's up 52% at 803 a foot average. Downtown Barrie near the waterfront, you're going to be looking at over 1,000 a foot on some one bedrooms. Milton's up 59% at an 851 a foot average. What's interesting is when you look at the Toronto data, we haven't seen that type of price run up. So it's easy to look at a price list in Toronto, right, and say, well, it's $1,550 a foot, like this is so expensive. But it hasn't moved as much as you would think. So if you look 2 years ago, we were averaging about $1,300 a foot. And today we're averaging about $1,500 a foot. So we're up about 15%. So while other markets are up 60, 65%, we are up 15% in the 416. So relatively speaking, if you believe that the downtown core, the financial hub of our country, is going to become attractive at some point in the future to live in again, there's going to be a net benefit to living in the core, which I think if you don't believe, I mean, you shouldn't be investing in the GTA at all. But if you do believe that, then obviously the downtown core is a better buy right now, just relatively speaking. And this isn't just a case of pre-construction either. This is happening in the resale market. We're starting to see this happen in the resale market. So condos are appreciating relatively rapidly across the board, whether you're downtown or in Mississauga or Markham, whatever. But what we're finding is we're seeing some crazy per square foot values in the outskirts of the city. So here's an example from Square One here, Ontario and Eglinton. This is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath at a new building by Pinnacle, about a year old. Sold for $740,000. A 1-bedroom in Square One sold for $740K, putting at just shy of $1,300 a square foot. Guys, there are very few neighborhoods in Toronto that you cannot buy a condo for $1,300 a foot. Like Yorkville and some pockets of the entertainment district. Like $1,300 a foot can get you into Fort York, Leslieville, and people are paying that in Square One. So to me, the value would be buying in Leslieville. If I can buy a Leslieville condo at the same price as a Square One, well, that's kind of a no-brainer. And that's why I see so much value in the core right now. Not even not to say Leslieville's the core, but just Toronto as a whole, the values have lagged so much and they're just only starting to run. I think there's so much runway for them. Here's another example in North York. This is a 1 in den. It sold for $938,000 in North York, a 1-bedroom and den. Now it's large, 712 square feet, and it's a really nice layout with a U-shaped kitchen, but that's over $1,300 a foot up in North York. And yeah, it's right on Yonge, so transit and all the rest of it. But again, $1,300 a foot in North York. So what do you think pre-construction condos are going to launch at North York? You got 5,300 Yonge, I'm sure 4,800 Yonge. You've got some options coming in North York. They're going to be way more expensive than the resale options, naturally. And here's another example up in Markham. We have a building at Highway 7 and Warden, I believe. $820,000 for a one and den, 649 square feet. So $1,260 a foot. Again, you can buy Fort York all day at $1,260 a foot. And my final example, this one doesn't necessarily fit because Humber Bay is not exactly, the outskirts. It depends on who you ask, right? You ask someone from Yorkville, is Humber Bay a part of Toronto? They're going to tell you no. But you ask someone from Humber Bay, is it part of Toronto? They'll tell you yes. So it's up to debate. Leave it in the comments if you think Humber Bay is part of Toronto or not. Now, I live in Humber Bay. I love Humber Bay. Do I think that condo values in Humber Bay should be trading at $1,660 a foot like this one? Not necessarily. I mean, that's more expensive than Yorkville. And this particular unit, yeah, it's got the great view. It's unobstructed. It'll never be blocked. But it's 840 square feet and it's sold for $1.395 million on the resale market. You can buy new build pre-construction in this neighborhood with this same view for considerably less per square foot than this resale unit sold. The last point I want to bring up, I think I've shared this graph on this channel. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%. But this is the average selling price ratio of a Whitby detached versus a Toronto condo. What's interesting is you see, over time you have market dislocations. COVID, of course, is the most dramatic market dislocation here. But it'll always kind of revert and hover around the long-term average. The long-term average is 0.97, meaning that a condo in the downtown core in the CO1 district trades historically, going back to 1996, at an average of 97% of the price of a detached in Whitby. In today's market, that condo in the downtown core is trading at only at 65% of the value of a detached in Whitby. So again, this is just more fuel to the fire. This is why I think this is the year of the condos are incredibly undervalued. The last thing I want to talk about is these pre-construction prices, at least in Toronto, are about to get a whole lot worse. A couple of reasons why. The first one is inclusionary zoning. So now you have to, any building zoned in 2022 going forward has to include affordable housing. That's going to add about $25 to $50 per buildable square foot. And now we also have a foundation policy. That means if you want to build a condo in Toronto, you have to bathtub the foundation. That adds cost, about $15 to $35 per buildable square foot. You add that all up, plus you subtract corridors and loading dock, things that you can't sell, right? And you get to easily $100 a square foot more once these policies are in place. So any building zone going forward is going to have to be $100 a square foot more than anything that's selling today, not including appreciated land values and the fact that labor's more expensive and construction materials are more expensive. So if you're hoping that pre-construction, if you're kind of hoping for a pre-construction launch and that's going to come at a surprise, price and going to launch lower than the last pre-construction project in the neighborhood, you are probably going to be disappointed. So, it's just simple supply and demand. It's not rocket science here, but there are some really good pre-construction deals on the market. And if you want to know where they are, go to precondo.ca/academy, get the course for free. I will see you guys on the other side and take care till next week.